Josh Taylor says he could see himself jumping between 140 and 147 for big fights. Man, let's talk about that.
Push the weight enough flex. The live is one in the six. Fit the runner, boy, you nigga, no question. You will run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm an 88 pack nigga. I'm an 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Let's go over the boxing scene. Link will be in the description. Y'all know the drill. Josh Taylor could see himself jumping between 147 and 140 for big fights. It's written by Sean Nam. I want to give credit to the journalists that write this stuff. Josh Taylor does not see why he needs to give up his lofty perch at 140 anytime soon, or ever for that matter. The undisputed junior welterweight champion from Scotland may have accomplished all that can be done in his current weight class, but that does not mean he necessarily is looking to leave it permanently. Taylor is projected to make a hometown defense of his junior welterweight titles against mandatory challenger Jack Cottrell on December 18th. Taylor unified the division last May with a decision over Jose Ramirez. No, I don't think so, Taylor told IFL TV when asked if the Cottrell fight could be his last at 140. I think I can be a career 140 pounder. Still, Taylor is motivated to assert himself at 147, where there could be some significant and lucrative opportunities waiting for him. Bob Arum of Top Rank, who promotes Taylor, has spoken in the past of matching Taylor against WBO welterweight title holder Terrence Crawford. Wow. It is not clear if Taylor could face any of the other champions and top contenders in the welterweight class, given that most of them, Ugas, Errol Spence Jr., Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, are aligned with Al Heyman's premier boxing champions, a rival entity at Top Rank. Let me halt right there for a second. I don't want to hear that Top Rank and the PBC can't do business. I don't want to hear it. Do you know why? October 9th, the PBC will be facing Top Rank in a lucrative event. So enough is enough. If it makes dollars, it makes sense. Stop acting like this opposite side of the street stuff is real. It's fake. I'm just talking to the supporters of the sport. It's fake. All right? Taylor figures he can hold on to his belts at 140 while making a name for himself in 147 and alternate between the two weight classes. At 140, he could presumably take a top-ranked stablemate and the lightweight champion Teofimo Lopez should Lopez decide to move up. Oh my God, the options are incredible. I do want to go up to 147 and prove that I'm the best by winning all the belts in the division, said Taylor. I want to go up to 147, challenge for a couple of big fights up there, and then maybe come back down and defend my 140-pound belts and maybe fluctuate between the two weights. Weight, the greatest bugbear, perhaps, for any professional boxer, apparently is not such a big concern of Taylor. I can make 140, no problem, said Taylor. There are big fights at 140 and there are big fights at 147. So in and around the two divisions, there are massive fights to be made. Man, listen, I know I spoke on this before, but I like Josh Taylor. I like that attitude, man. Josh Taylor is the real deal. He proved it. He said he could wait at 140 and wait for a guy like Teofimo Lopez to come up and fight him. That's an option. Tank. That's an option. That's a real option. Or he could hold on to his belts at 140 because he's undisputed, which means no doubt there's no franchise status floating around there. He didn't play that game. He went out and got all those belts, and he's the guy. He's the guy. And he sat there and said, man, I could wait on Teofimo. They're talking about Tank. He can get that smoke. Or I can go to 147. And they mentioned Terrence Crawford. And they mentioned Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. But when I think I mentioned this before, Josh Taylor is in a position of power. He has the ultimate bargaining chip. He has what? Undisputed. Right here under his wing. He has undisputed under his wing. No franchise status. He don't need all of that. You know who has a franchise status? Teofimo. So in the event that he gets past Kambosos and you don't want to fight Devin, do what Canelo did when it came to Jamal Charlo. Franchise status and zoom up to whatever weight class. Well, drugged up, but that's just my opinion. So yeah. He could take that franchise status and say, you know what? I'm your Huckleberry Josh. I could do that. That'll sell some seats. He could defend. He has a defense coming up in December. He can go up to 147 with all the belts and say, yo, guys, who wants it? Now, you know what I do recall saying? I don't recall exactly when I said it, but I do recall saying Josh Taylor is in a better position career-wise than Terrence Crawford. He was undisputed, vacated everything. Fine. Now you're at 147, and you ain't do much. You got a WBO belt. You know, fine. Now what? What if Josh Taylor, sometime at the end of 2022, says, you know what, I'm going to 147. Do you know? You know what, I'm not going to say I know. Let me be fair. Do you know the probability that he can go up to 147 and get like any fight he wants? Any fight he wants. And he don't even have a franchise status. He can go up there and get any fight he wants before Terrence Crawford. He can even fight Terrence Crawford. He can get more work done in a couple of months, in about 6 months' time, than it took Bud to get done in 2 years. How long has Bud been at 147? And in my opinion, he goofed up the Errol Spence fight. It was there. I'm not arguing with anybody. It was there and he didn't take it. What I'm saying is Bud messed around and did what he's doing. All right, we're finally getting a quality fight out of him, and I'm glad that we're getting that. But what I'm saying is Josh Taylor, if he comes in 147, he could make noise immediately. What if he comes in there and takes an immediate fight? Let's say he comes up there. I'm just going to throw a name out there. Let's say he comes up here. He comes up to 147, Danny Garcia. Don't let him win that fight. Don't let him win that fight. Because if he wins that fight, they're going to look at Bud and be like, yo, his first fight at 147 wasn't a setup fight, because everyone believes that Bud, that was a setup fight. Whatever. Fine. Whatever. I didn't think Bud was going to lose that fight against the Australian. Nobody, man, everyone knew Bud was going to win that fight. But let's just say Josh Taylor comes to 147 and fights and beats Danny Garcia. Let's just say that happens. That's an immediate impact. What if he starts drawing at Errol Spence Jr.? Then what? What if he fights Keith Thurman and beats Keith Thurman? What if? This is all what ifs. He went to 147 and ran into the he ran to the smoke. He ran right into it. Bud said, I'm undisputed. I deserve everything. I deserve 50-50. Everybody got to come to me. You ain't do nothing, man. Oh, well, I got a belt. Anybody could have beat him. Bob, after he made sure Manny got screwed on the way out of Top Rank, he said, hold on to this belt. When Bud comes up to 147, that's your fight. He knew he wasn't beating Bud. So you got a belt. And what do you do with it? What do you do with it, Bud? Come on, man. We're just now getting you and Sean. Just now. Come on, man. But this ain't about you, Bud, but it affects you. Because this guy, Josh Taylor, he can hang out at 140, defend that. He said it. He can wait for people at 135 to come up and see him. Tank, Teofimo. Then he said, I can go to 147. And he'll get anything he wants up there. And you'll be sitting there. But, and if he wins those fights at 147, if he wins any fight at 147, he's going to completely overshadow you. Because he had a tougher way to go at 140. And that's noted. He had a tougher way to go at 140. And if he came up to 147, he comes to 147, has any win against a top caliber person, they're going to completely forget about you. You're going to have to fight him. No more posturing, bud. Because this guy's right behind you, waiting in the wings. You got to do something, bud. But shout out to Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor is looking for all the smoke. So he says, so let's see. He has these options. Let's see. He got to win his defense. And I want to see what he does. If he wins his defense, I want to see what he does after that, because this is going to be, this is on the verge of something very telling. So shout out to Josh Taylor. Bronx on deck.